3, 2, 1. And we're live.
Hey.
Got it. See? I'm starting to understand this thing now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, this is making sense now.
Well, in the 20-something episodes so far, and then all the trials and all that kind of stuff, there's only been 2 sound errors.
Oh, okay.
One was last week or the week before with us.
Oh, this
where
was
something random
very
happened.
bottom of the settings. You weren't finding it, yeah.
I was like, what? And then there was one like the 5th or 6th one or something. I was like,
Just
hell?
unplug.
Yeah, it was just random stuff that there's no answer for.
Yeah, it was like this little thing just kind of pulled out.
Right, like whatever, and turds. Dude, fitness episode.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so, and I say fitness episode, yeah, people are going to figure this out. So it's, the premise of it, the idea came from sitting there and working out, obviously.
Yeah.
That's what I do all the time. But, it's looking over you, and then I saw a couple of young guys come over and talk to you, and I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I was like, he just started his journey. Like, you're effectively an infant in the journey of fitness and strength training and all that, right? You know what I mean?
No, yeah, absolutely.
And then I was like, I'm old as shit in this, dude. So I said, you know what? I was like, it can't hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's because you have a whole lot of base foundational information that you're building on from. Your foundation is solid, which we kind of touched on before, another episode. And not that my foundation is not solid. It is.
Yeah.
But for lack of better terms, make fun of me with this. It's almost like a mathematician trying to teach somebody 1 + 1. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because
the foundational stuff is so foundational.
Yeah, you sit there and it's like this is like the most as simple as it gets, and then some people are just, I don't know.
So like,
what
what?
you're talking about. Yeah.
And it doesn't mean they're dumb. It's just new.
Yeah.
And and so it's like some people, you start to get into modern and advanced topics, and they're like, I don't even have a clue what you're talking about. And you're like, dude, this is so 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. You're like, what? And I'm like, oh, they don't know step 1.
Yeah.
So why am I even talking about step 10?
Exactly.
And steps, no steps, but you know what I mean. So I was like, oh, that sounded like a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've got like the multiplication and division of training down, and then like.
Yeah, you have a good.
I don't have the algebra down yet.
Right, but I mean, you have a good, solid foundation. I mean, you're making stuff work, and you've got things going on, and you're doing, and you're young, and you do silly things like overtrain and tweak your back, and don't recognize it. But you're young, so right now it doesn't matter. I was like, when you're 65, 70, you're gonna be like, oh God, I wish I didn't do that when I was, in my 20s. But at that point, who really cares? We'll have stem cell advancements. Yeah, we'll be good. You'll be healed up, man. So, curious, what was what brought you to fitness? I'm gonna say fitness because you've done climbing, you've done strength training, you've done. I mean, does that make sense? So you're not the CrossFit guy, you're not the powerlifter guy, you're not the strength trainer guy, you're not isolated.
Yeah.
Or condensed into one topic. What kind of got you to jump in?
Okay.
You're like,
when you said that, I was like, whoa.
High school football? No.
This is, I hated team sports.
Yeah.
In primary school, I did soccer. Hated it.
Okay.
For whatever reason, I would get distracted. So we'd be sitting there on the field, and, looking back into your past, you like to oh, I was such this great whatever. I would sit there and stare up and watch the birds.
No interest in team sports
during the game. Zero interest, zero fascination. I didn't, even at a really young age, I didn't relying on other people. And so what ended up happening was I pulled out of team sports and I just kind of floated around doing my own little thing. Played a lot of sports with my father, so we did football and baseball and basketball.
Yeah.
Just in the backyard,
so athletic. Just not in athletics.
Yeah. We didn't. So we had. We didn't have a lot of stuff, but we did every once in a while. I would get a baseball and then a mitt and then a bat and then got one of those little bounce back things.
Oh,
so I would sit there and just chunk the ball at that thing for hours, just aimlessly, just thinking about okay, how do you adjust your pitch and all of this, just because I wanted to be good at it.
Yeah.
And I remember I was sitting there, and my dad was on the patio in the backyard with somebody, and I threw it, and I threw it really hard. It landed right in my eye. Oh, okay. I'm taking a break from the bounce back thing.
Yeah.
But so then come high school, I started associating with bad company. I started getting like kind of veering onto the wrong path. And this was I guess this was middle school, high school, and then let's say freshman year in high school, I ended up in alternative school for whatever reason, and then come sophomore year, I wanted to make a change.
Yeah.
So the change that I made was I joined the ROTC program. I had to go in and beg my senior ROTC instructor to let me in, and he said, "Yeah, okay, fine, better than PE." And from there, it took off. I loved every minute of it. Hated the uniform at first. Uniform was just,
you know, it's
Exactly.
It's not the most comfortable thing in the world, but
yeah.
you adapt.
And then, so I did that, and then the junior year ran around. Wait, I'm sorry. So it gave me kind of a foundation that sophomore year on something to build, something, you know, being motivated to work towards something and having discipline. And then that summer, after sophomore year, I went to Colorado to go see family, and my cousin took me out to this place called Queen's Bluff in Clarksville, Tennessee, right next to, I forget the name of that base, Fort Campbell.
I think it's a Campbell.
101st is there.
It's Army, right?
Yeah.
It's the Army. I think it's Campbell.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm gonna say it is, but so.
Yeah, that final answer. And so he took me to Queen's Bluff. Queen's Bluff was just some random cliffside right next to a river, and he introduced me to rock climbing.
Mm-hmm.
I did 2 climbs, and I was hooked. I was trash, total trash at it.
Of course, but
yeah. But so coming back, this would have been, I guess, in 2011 or 2012. When I came back, I just had to do it. So I already had a membership at Lifetime Fitness because my family went there, and they had a rock wall. So from there, it was just on every day. So not every day, 5 days a week for 4 to 5 hours a day. From when they open to when they close, I was there. First 6 months, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anything. So they had these little autoblade, like those mechanical machines that help you up the wall. I just did those until I just couldn't. And then when they said it's time to close, I said, okay, closing. And then eventually somebody approached me and asked, hey, do you want to learn how to belay? And I said, oh, okay. So go find a partner. So I brought my sister. And then from there, it opened up, and I kept training more. I was allowed to do more stuff. And so it just kept going. From that, they offered me the job there just because I was already there all the time. And it was to the point where I was like socializing with the employees and helping them put the stuff up and like raking and all that. And I was just hooked, and I couldn't get out of it. And then I finally found my mentor for a rock climbing guy named Rami Najir, and he was just that old school type of just, hey, what do I do? And I'm looking down, I'm like working on something, climb harder.
Yeah.
So great guy.
And sometimes the absolute best way to coach.
Exactly. It's
like
to let them
figure
it out.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I've made that mistake many times of trying to spoon feed information. No, just cut them loose, let them figure it out, because it helps them understand those foundational principles.
Yeah.
Then, oh God, I competed for a while. I got pretty okay. Started placing in some regional competitions for different, like the CCS and all that.
Yeah.
And I didn't have enough money to go national or to get. I was on the level climbing.
Skill level, but not.
Yeah, exactly. But I didn't have the resources to go and really push. And as sponsorships went, there wasn't much out there at the time.
And in climbing, there's really still not.
Yeah, exactly.
Tremendous opportunity for sponsorships.
So it's going commercial now, and I kind of regret getting out of it. But it's just one of those things. Fitness is still going to be way bigger for a way long time. So what ends up happening is I go out to Colorado to go see my great aunt. So she lives out in Colorado, Castle Rock, and just going to say hi, just doing this, that, and the other. End up going to Boulder on the weekend. Just got a hotel, just hanging out there, and I meet this girl.
See, it's already trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
Did she
so
share a phone with you for
this
an hour?
is.
No, I'm kidding.
Well, we went out. We went out on one date, and then the next day, and then the rest of the week, we just traveled around like the whole greater Denver area, so Golden, Colorado, and there was this gym up in Golden, which I had a great time with. Yeah, I walk into the gym, and I'm wearing like, I have my backpack on. I'm wearing a climbing shirt that I got from one of my like old students, like ready to climb, and I'm like this like skinny, lanky, 160 pounds, 6'2" kid.
Perfect for climbing.
Yeah, exactly,
Right.
exactly. And the guy comes up and he looks at the girl and he's like, "Oh, you're all right." And then looks at me. "Have you ever climbed before?" Naturally, I said no. No, I don't know. So what I do is he's like, "Oh, okay, well here, let me show you how it's done." Yeah, show me how it's done. We go through and he puts us on like these really beginner routes, and I still have my tennis shoes on. We come over to this, whatever it was like an 11B. It was this beautiful route, and it looked really nice when I was looking at it. So I want to climb that. And he said, you might not have, it's really hard. I said, "Okay, watch this, motherfucker."
Yeah, you're like, take this.
So I hiked it in my tennis shoes, and then he was like, "Wait, what?" And when I came down, I asked him, "So what's the hardest route here? What's the hardest route you have?" It's this 13B around the corner. Okay. So
Let's take that one.
yeah, I took that one from him. I took 2 falls on it, and I remember on my second fall, I'm just laughing, having a great time, and I look over and I can see him leaned all the way over the counter, like looking up at me. And when I look down at him, he pulls away.
Oh, so he's
like embarrassed, and so
he's stalking a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I cut a deal with my partner who wasn't very big on climbing, but knew a little bit about it.
Yeah.
For every advanced route that I climb, so whatever you consider that, to me advanced is like 12C and up, whatever 12B and up, whatever that was, whatever I climbed, she had to do a route. I didn't care what it was, right? Yeah. And so I quite literally traveled across their entire wall, climbing all of their hardest routes.
So she's got to keep going.
Just to make sure that she would keep going, and she was cashed by the end of it. I was just sitting there laughing, having a good time.
If you're not used to it, man, any activity. Don't get me wrong, any activity. I mean, if you're not used to water skiing and you go water skiing, you're gonna be trashed.
And then doing it for like long periods of time is really hard. Just making that muscle endurance is excruciating. But that was something that we trained for. So pre-comp, we would do. So let's say 3 weeks before competition season opens up, we would, me and the people I would train with, we'd train a big group, would go out to one of the big gyms. So we have Stone Moves here for bouldering, and we have Inspire at the time for sport climbing. Every once in a while, we'd go stop by TRG, Texas Rock Gym. But I remember a few times where I would go up to Inspire, and I would do, all right, let's say, work at 10, 11, 12, and then get onto the 13. 13s are the hardest ones that they had at the gym at the time. And I would project all the 13s they had. From there, I would just come down. So I would do all their 12Ds, all their 12Cs, 12Bs, A, 10, all the 11s, all the 10s, and I'm falling down to all the 9s. And it would end up taking 8 to 10 hours just to do. Yeah. So I was there from opening to close, and I had a lunch break, and then after that, I didn't climb for 3 days, and then I was ready for anything. I was pumped and ready to go. So back to this whole business. Somewhere down the line, because I ended up long distance dating this girl. I said long term. We ended up dating for all of. Like 8 months when I came back to Houston. Still climbing, still training, but during the time they had this 90-day challenge over at Lifetime. Okay. And they've replaced it with this 60-day nonsense because I don't know, people are.
They can't go 90 days, dude. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a whole other subject, but yes.
And so what happened was I went in and they were like, all right, well, you can't lose any more weight. So let's make it transformation. So lower your body fat as low as you can, and then increase your muscle mass as high as you can. I was like, oh, okay. I was at 3.7% body fat already. Yeah, really hard to do. So I was just like, all right, so I guess I'll just increase muscle. After every shift during the week, I would come in. So this is after 9 p.m.
Yeah.
I would go upstairs and just examine the machines. I didn't touch anything else. I didn't understand dumbbells or barbells. I didn't touch them. And for the first 2 months, I worked on machines, just like sat there, stared at it, like tried to figure out, where everything goes, read the little diagram. And that was the way I did it. And I'll do 1 row of machines each day. And that was just kind of how it went. And I did that for probably 2 weeks. And then I completely dropped out, and I just completely forgot about it.
Yeah.
Stopped going into their little check-in, whatever, and I was hooked. So like the issue with me is like I was talking about we were talking about obsessive or addictive personalities.
Yeah.
I have a really, really addictive personality. And so when I did that, the reason I did it was because I wanted to impress the girl in Colorado.
Of course.
So this is what it stemmed from originally.
Let's be honest. Probably 8 out of 10 guys that hit the gym on a regular basis.
Exactly.
They're trying to make some girl go, huh?
Exactly.
Right.
And so I already had her, and I was already there, but it was just something about like, oh, you're such a wonderful person to me, and I want to still impress you. And I got sucked into it. So that was 3 months, and this was towards the very end. It ended at the very end of December, and then come New Year's, my New Year's resolution for that year, and that would have been 2016, would have been the year that we were moving into. I said, okay, my New Year's resolution is to put on 40 pounds, get to 200 pounds, and to eventually become a professional bodybuilder.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I took off from school. I lowered my hours at work, and all I did was studied and trained and ate and studied and studied.
Yeah.
And ate more.
But studied the body and lifting and
exactly. So it was there was a few books on just straight bodybuilding, nutrition, physiology, a little bit of anatomy, kind of put me to sleep. A lot of nutrition study, and then just normal training principles. And then I got a few books gifted to me from like competitive weightlifting, Olympic weightlifting, powerlifting, and I was like, oh yes. And then after that, it was just, it was on. I was just stuck on it. And that's
what it's a poison, man, because it
really
what people get is step 1, 2, and 3 to give them something of going into box gyms or CrossFit gyms.
Yeah.
Any gym, right? Any weight room. It's intimidating.
Yeah. Oh, I was terrified.
I don't know where I am. I don't know this stuff. Everybody's moving around. For the most part, everybody moves around pretty fluidly.
Yeah.
And forget what they look like, if they're big, small, fit.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Don't even put that into the equation.
They're just comfortable with the scene.
Yeah, you're in there and you're like, wow, there's 30, 40, 50 people in here, and they all basically look comfortable.
Yeah.
From out of shape to massively in shape, they all know what they're doing.
Yeah.
The reality is they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're just scooting around trying to figure some kind of
trying to figure it out.
But they look like they are. So somebody that's new to it comes in and they're like, oh, I will never be able to do this.
Yeah.
Shit, well, you just perfect. You're like, oh, okay, well, here's 10 machines. I'm going to do these 10 machines today, and then tomorrow I'll do those 10, and the next day I'll do these 10, whatever. And it's just kind of like, you just get used to being in there and the sounds and the things and moving your body, even if you're not doing it the most perfect way.
Yeah.
You're going through the motions. You're getting a range of motion. Your body's not too. You're going to feel it. You're still going to get sore. You're still going to blah, blah, all this other kind of crap.
Exactly.
But you start to get comfortable.
And that was the whole bit.
Then you're where you are now. Or
exactly.
2016 resolution,
Yeah, and so, but that was the whole thing, was I had no idea, and so coming in and just being there helped a lot. And like every once in a while, I'd get enough confidence to go over and grab some dumbbells and play around, and but that's why I originally started off really late.
Yeah.
And just thinking about it now, I guess early, late, midday wouldn't have mattered. I would have still been in there just working, right? But I found that, and it was the same thing in climbing, working out the basic movements without having to worry about stabilization. Like a lot of time in climbing, I was just working on auto belays for the first 6 months, and what I found a benefit from that was I never got injured during climbing.
Yeah.
For anything, I could have been training 8 hours a day, never sustained an injury. Right, I got hurt, but it wasn't ever like, oh, I snapped a tendon, or oh, I broke something, or I broke my hand, or whatever. And I have to credit that to having that initial conditioning.
Yeah.
Right. So conditioning your body for what you're going to do before you start developing strength or power or whatever it was. And it was the same thing with the machines. It was like, okay, so first 3 months I did nothing but machines. Just, okay, condition your body, condition your joints to say, oh, this is what's coming, so please be careful. And then after that, it was just, okay, well, we're just going to study. And then I remember finding my father's old bodybuilding book and just going through it and just reading cover to cover the whole thing. And I've probably read that thing cover to cover. I have my own 2 copies now, and I've probably read that cover to cover 3 times now. Great. Love the book. And I recommend it to everybody.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's because it's the encyclopedia one, right?
Yeah. So Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding by Arnold Schwarzenegger. And
there's a lot of stuff that's great in it. Yes, some of it's dated.
Yeah.
Yes, some of it today is considered dangerous, and whatever. Like you got to take it for what it is, right? I want to say it was late 70s. It was originally published.
Yeah. So,
I think so. Okay, be real, but there's quality stuff in there.
So a lot of the things that you'll find in there are what people nowadays don't recommend.
Yeah.
I still do it pretty casually.
I've seen some of it. Damn it, no.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things that we've lost, like techniques to tighten your midsection, techniques to target different parts of your muscles. People completely forget.
Yeah.
They bench press in the exact same position every single time because this is just what they know. They don't ever go wide. They don't ever go narrow. Yeah. We've completely lost like close grip bench and completely lost like reverse grip bench to most of these new guys here.
Well, and so I'm gonna interrupt because that's a good point. Is so one of the things I get the questions all the time.
Yeah.
Right. What's a good routine? What's a this? What's a that?
Well, what do you want?
The massive volumes of vague questions, it gets ridiculous.
Yeah.
But when you take it down and say, advice is for everybody. It works for everybody. One, get in, work your ass off.
Yeah.
And it's if every 3 days you're doing, I'll just take chest because that's what we're talking about. I'll just take chest. Generally speaking, when you start, go train your chest. 1, 2, 3 exercises. It doesn't matter. Somewhere from 9 to 20 sets. Doesn't matter. Go by feel.
Yeah.
When that muscle group feels funny and is a little shaky, and you're new to this, stop.
Exactly.
Oh, that was only 6 sets.
Doesn't
Who
matter.
gives a shit? Stop. And I always tell people, like, do that, and then not the next day, but the second day on, when you wake up, do a couple of push-ups. If it's not sore anymore, good. Time to do it again.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't care if it's 2 days or 4 days or 6 days or who gives a shit. It doesn't matter. But then when you go back, adjust your hand width.
Yeah.
Go from, I'm not going to say super close because if you're doing chest, you don't want to start to just try to kill your triceps.
Exactly.
Do some dumbbell work, do some bench work, do some reverse grip, do some more narrow than last grip.
Yeah.
Change where your contact point is on your chest. Is it higher or lower?
Yeah,
go
exactly.
Incline,
and you
decline.
can go through all the modalities. You can
There's
go through all the
many,
angles, ranges
right.
of motion.
And that when you're trying to tell people is that if your first bench is your grip is 30 inches apart.
Yeah.
And the next time you work out, your grip is 38 inches apart.
Yeah.
You're going to get a different feel.
Huge difference, yeah.
And so do those things. If you stay at 30 inches apart and you go to a reverse grip 30 inches apart, guess what? You're hitting your muscles differently.
Exactly,
That is variation.
Yeah.
Like variation doesn't mean bench press this time and dips next time thinking you're going to get close. It doesn't have to be a totally different exercise. It can be the exact same exercise on the exact same bench.
Yeah.
Tempo can variance it. The amount of weight,
God.
the amount of reps. Anyway, just go on and on and on. So I had to interject there a little bit.
So that was the big thing, was finding a way. So for me, efficiency is probably one of my biggest values. So finding a way to be very efficient with what it is that I do, and I have these long, drawn out programs of just like as high intensity as I can make them. I'm constantly changing it, trying to make it more efficient. So adding variation, keeping like basic movements, and this is going to get way past a lot of the beginner guys. So let's just stick to this. Consistency is key. Nutrition is absolutely, like, you can't replace that with anything.
Right.
You can have terrible programming, have great nutrition, still make progress.
Yes.
Because you're giving your body what it needs to build and push forward.
Yes.
Right? Now, if you have great nutrition, great programming, you still need consistency, and then at the very end of the day, it's intensity.
Yeah.
Because a lot of guys come in and then they'll train, and I've seen, and I hate it, and it disappoints me to no end. They get to this certain point, and then they stop pushing. So, like, they'll get to 315 on bench, and then just, okay, well, I can do 1 rep of 315 on bench. I've been able to do that for 2 years. You sit there, okay. Well, so you got to that intensity, which is great.
Yeah.
But consistency and consistently increasing intensity is what makes you a superb performer.
Well, and some of this is, now I'm gonna hit this from 2 angles. One, from a goal set perspective, and 2, from an older, in quotations, lifter coming through, right? With myself. So sometimes, and this was hard for me to grasp, and sometimes I still get confused. Like, I'm not confused, I still just can't understand why. Is you'll get people that are like, I did 225-pound bench press 10 times. It's all I ever wanted. So that's as much as they ever push themselves.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? They'll never do it. They'll never change tempo. They'll never try to go 12 with it. They're just, as long as when I work out, that's all I ever want. That's it. So they'll come in and they'll do a few different things and do that and go.
Yeah.
I tend to believe, a little based on science, a little based on what I've observed, and sometimes those things, there's a gray area in between, that if you become so stagnant and complacent and don't adjust something, tempo, number of reps, decrease rest period, any of those things, right? If you're going the exact same all the time, you're actually doing yourself harm as opposed to good. And I hesitate when I say harm, because it's not like you're hurting yourself, but it's the body wants to become efficient. Yeah. I know people who would get up every day and do 1,000 sit-ups and 1,000 push-ups, but, you know, God forbid if you put their feet on a 3-inch block, they're screwed. Exactly. Because that's what they do all the time every day, you know. And then period of time working with different professionals from different sports. Take a cyclist. If you take their feet away from that few inches apart that they do all the time and you put them there, they're useless. You see what I'm saying? So the point being is that if you do this exactly all the time, you're really good at doing 225 or 10 reps. But what happens if you have to exert yourself one time in an emergency situation or in some other deal? Risk of injuries through the roof.
Which is, and so I think that's the whole bit when it comes to like adding that sort of variation. So same movement, different variation, it makes you less incident prone. Yeah. So, like, if you, let's say, like, 30-inch bench, right? Right. If you only train that forever, your muscles are only trained for that specific movement. If you add in 32, 34, 38, whatever it is, or coming down 20, 28, and you're all the way down, you're working the muscle at all angles. So when it's time to respond to any sort of situation, if you going to a meet, or if you're in some situation where you have to physically exert yourself, then you're less likely to sustain injury because your body is more prepared.
And so and my reason for bringing that up on that aspect of it is that training your body in a variety of angles and ways and techniques and stresses and all these things is extremely important. I don't care if you're a straight power lifter, a strongman, a bodybuilder, a rock climber, whatever it is. You got to put the different ranges of motion, the different stimulus in there, and that's why mobility training is going through the roof over the last few years. Because people are like, oh, I still need to be mobile. Exactly. You know, that type of stuff. I still need
to be able to touch my
my back. You know, and you're like, oh, I see. So it's so that, and then from an older lifter perspective, you know, I'm gonna use me specifically. 'Cause I've been doing this for decades. Yeah. I don't push myself as hard as I used to. Yeah. Because because it takes one. It's higher risk nowadays. So it's like when I did arms the other day. So I'm doing my close grip presses.
Yeah.
I am happy with screwing with tempo and doing stuff, doing close grip with 3 plates on there.
Yeah.
I don't have a spot or anything going on. I'll do a set of, sometimes it's 6 feels heavy. Sometimes I'm do 10 and 12. So the other day I did 15.
Yeah.
Whatever. And so I'm pushing myself within a set. So I'm going to some relative range of failure.
Yeah.
But the old days, I'm like, I'm going to close grip 5 plates. Fuck it. Let's do it.
Exactly.
I don't care when, but I'm going to do it, you know? And it's kind of like that older, younger mentality. You can't lift it if you can't feel it.
That's right.
You know? So like, you want to bench 500? You better put 550 on, then that 500 is going to feel light. You know, so there's that mentality. So like me today, it's kind of like, and now granted, the only time I've ever maxed in my life was 1995 or 1996. Because that's the only time I ever did a powerlifting meet.
Oh, okay.
And so I maxed then.
Yeah,
and it was raw as shit.
Yeah.
Because I can't use chalk because it just I have a mild allergy to it. What is it, talc or whatever it is?
Yeah.
So my hands just get inflamed and dry, so I don't screw with that. And then I wasn't going to go spend a bunch of money for belts and shirts and all this other kind of crap for it. So it was, when I say raw, I mean like, dude, they let me do it in my socks for like the squat and the dead because I didn't have, like I had tennis shoes and they're like, no, dude.
Yeah.
You know, and now again, this is years ago, but.
That's fair.
So with that in mind, I've never maxed. I've never had any desire to max. I'm kind of like, what can I do for 6, 7, or 8 times?
Yeah.
Fuck, once. Give a shit about once. So that's always been my thing. And, you know, so it's that pushing yourself. I'm saying this because it is a little bit relative based on your goal set or based on age or based on some other things. Where you are in your 20s, dude, be smart. But it's balls to the walls, dude. Just go. You know, because, you know, I mean, your hormones are through the roof.
Exactly.
You're going to heal fast. All this kind of stuff. Those things are important. You know, and that's kind of why I'm jumping in there on that and giving those 2 different perspectives of that person that only benches 2 plates. And they've done it for years. Yeah. They just have no desire to go beyond that.
So, okay, then if you're content with it, then I'm 100% happy.
Yeah. And this is another psychology part for you. Okay?
Yeah.
A lot of people will do that. I can squat 2 plates.
Yeah.
I mean, I can squat 3 plates. I can bench 2 plates. I can curl 100 pounds for 50 times, whatever it is their goals. And they say all these things and they stay there for years. Yeah. And they appear to be complacent because they're not really killing themselves with it. Yeah. But they will tell you they desire, in quotations, to add 5 pounds of muscle or to be a little leaner in their midsection and even if they're already lean and fit, that you'll get these things from people. Yeah. And then, so this was a hard part for me coming through the decades of this crap, is taking people's desires and taking people's factual reality of what they really want, need. Yeah. And learning how to differentiate between the 2.
I see what you're saying.
Because a lot of people will tell you, yeah, I want to be a little leaner. I want this. But nothing in their life is set up for that. Yeah. And they don't have room to change things for that to occur. So you got to know that's a reality. So then it is. I see what you're saying. Because
I take everybody as literally as possible. Oh,
no. Yeah, stop that. You're going to frustrate yourself.
Yeah, that's what it's become. I had a couple of boys talking about this was last year, bodybuilding meets or bodybuilding competitions, whatever. And they would come up to me every day they saw me and ask me, hey, you know, can you examine my physique, see what needs to be adjusted? Okay. Yeah, so we go through it and we talk about, you know, more, whatever it was, more wide grip barbell curls, more flies, more pullovers, whatever, and you know, okay, because I'm expecting them at that point. If they tell me I'm going to a bodybuilding competition, I expect them to be prepared for that bodybuilding competition. So they'll tell me 3 months out. Yeah. 2 months out comes in, they've made minimal progress. Yeah. 1 month out, they haven't changed their diet. Yeah. They haven't leaned down at all. They look exactly the same as they did a month ago. Yeah. And I'm sitting, are you ready for your meet? or competition or pageant, whatever. And I shouldn't say that.
No, it's be real, dude.
And
we'll hit that, yeah.
And they're, oh yeah. You know, it's just water weight.
Nah,
You're wrong. First off.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks in, or we got 2 weeks away, and I'm just not gonna go. What do you mean you're just not gonna go?
Yeah.
So yes.
So here's a little word of advice on that. And this is not just you, but anybody that's training anybody for a physique-based contest, right? Because it takes, as the trainer or coach or whatever they want to call it nowadays, whatever, there's a lot of weight on you. And it's a lot of stress on you as the coach, having to deal with this person and get them there and, you know, all these other things. So here's my advice. If any person comes to you, I don't care. They are a shadow. I don't care what they look like, what their history is, what their none of that is relevant to me. You know, like, hey, Jordan, I want to do a show, and it's whatever, 3-4 months away.
Yeah.
I want to do a bodybuilding show, physique show, whatever it is. 4 months away. Will you be my coach, or can you help me? Yes. As soon as you show me a receipt for your entry fee.
Yeah.
For the airfare, if it's a travel, for the hotel.
Yeah.
For the, you know, the organizational fee and all. Once you show me all these things, let's sit down and make a plan.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll get that later.
Nah.
No.
Okay.
Because
that I like.
They need skin in the game.
Exactly.
And paying you session to session isn't really skin in the game.
Yeah.
Because, you know, as anybody who has been a trainer, who is a trainer, and that kind of stuff, you know that probably 90, maybe 95% of all of your income comes from babysitting. Okay? So people that are just like dropping bills on you to be like, I got a trainer and that's better than not, and cool, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if somebody comes to you like, I want to do X show, great.
Exactly.
Go put some skin in this. Go put all that
Show
stuff
me
out
you're
there.
committed.
Show me that. And then now I have something to be able to believe in you.
Yeah.
And you'll find probably 1 or 2 out of 10 will do it.
Yeah. So that's been the big that's actually one of the reasons that I don't have a lot of clients, is because when we have our first, you know, assessment, we talk it over, do this, that, and the other, and I try to get a feel for how committed they are to it.
Yeah.
And if they don't seem committed, if there's not going to be, because for me, I guess training was never about like, oh, I just want money. Training was about like, I want to see people transform. Like that is very pleasurable to me.
Yes, stop that.
But
you have to stop that real quick.
My babysitting is my group fitness classes, and that's fine. I get it's like consistent, sustained, you know, income. But my training is like, okay, I've committed to you, and you've committed to me.
Yeah.
But for the ones that don't show that commitment, I don't train. Well, here, let me introduce you to another trainer.
Yeah.
This is so-and-so. She might be able to help you better than I can. And so I've got 5 super rock star clients that I can trust.
Yeah.
You know, that I can trust. We'll put in the work and do show the extra effort. And then, like, for these guys, they'll just pull me off to the side and, hey, can you this, that, and the other? Yeah. But, like, my mind gets me locked into things, and so I get, like, set on this objective. So I have to complete this objective. I have to make sure that he's doing this. And, like, I'm like, okay, this is why I do what I do, but it's not helping me in this case.
And you got to remember, too, is that some of it is there are so many factors other than what you can chart.
Yeah.
You know, and this goes with people in their own programs, everybody, is that there's measurables.
Yeah.
I weigh this. My body fat is this.
Yeah.
Here are my circumferences. Those
and this is my performance level.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've set myself to do 4 sets of 12 reps at this exercise because of past data. There's all those things, right? Well, what people forget is things that can affect your workout from a strength perspective, right? So if you're going in, again, you're going for whatever, 10 sets of 10 or whatever it is that day you're going for in that exercise. Things that you are in your control and out of.
Yeah.
Okay. Outside environment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, your body's going to perform differently when it's 30% humidity and 40 degrees outside as opposed to 80% humidity and 100 degrees outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, there's a difference. I don't care what anybody says. You know, and we can map that out where you get in the car and the driving and how your body's gonna. That's a stress to your body.
Yeah.
Okay, so that may or may not affect you, right? Your sleep.
Yeah.
We know if you're required to get your body and your whatever 8 hours and you get 7, you could perform at 20% less.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's an hour.
No, yeah,
That's
absolutely.
Stupid. What's this? No, that's just it's physiology. It's how it works. Right?
Yeah.
Then the hydration levels.
Mm-hmm.
People screw that up all the time. You can be 5% dehydrated, right?
Yeah.
Which on a 200-pound person is like half a pound.
Yeah.
Okay. You could be 5% dehydrated, and your performance level could drop as much as 60%.
Yeah.
60%. Right? Now, I've seen some that are, say, 45 and seen some that say 65. And I think it's debatable what is actually measurably 5% dehydrated.
Yeah.
Because with all the other different tissues and things. So it's difficult to perfectly measure that, but it's very, 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 very close to that.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you say, okay, well, I only got 7 hours of sleep, and I'm 3% dehydrated, and it's 100 degrees out and 85% humidity, and I didn't pre-start my car, it's a 15-minute drive to the gym. So I'm sitting in a box that's 120 degrees.
Exactly.
Then it's 110. Then it's 90. Then it's so by the time I get there, the car's cool.
Yeah.
But you got a sweaty back.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying, from your car. And so people forget that on a performance level.
Yeah.
And then and that's what I was like, is there are measurables, but then there's things that. Dude, there's some days I go into the gym and I should be weak as shit. Mm-hmm. No sleep, hadn't really eaten enough, hadn't done all these other things, and I get in and I'm freaking Hercules.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did I just curl 225
this
for
doesn't
like
make sense.
12 reps? I'm like, I feel strong as shit. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then there's days I go in and everything should be perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
And that 225-pound curl that I did in a crappy state, I can't even do it once today.
Yeah.
It's heavy as shit. Yeah. I'm like, but I got this. I'm rested. I'm hydrated. I'm fed. I'm there. I'm right mentally. I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Your body just doesn't want it today.
Not measurable. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like, and so where I am in my advanced lifting age, I just accept it. I'm like, fuck. Today's it's a volume day. Woohoo!
Yeah. It's not one of those, okay, let's just go for 50 reps of whatever and be done.
Yeah. And now, back in my 20s, is I'd push it. I'd push through it because it was a different situation.
Yeah.
And back then I had training partners. We talked about training partners. Yeah. Training partners.
Yeah.
Training shit. But
if you can find the right one,
they
can do wonders.
I've had a couple that have lasted, more than a year and things of that nature and such. But good luck, dude.
Yeah.
Schedule's one.
Yeah, exactly.
It just doesn't even get anything to do with the other person at all.
Yeah.
At all. And I mean, I've had powerlifters, I've had strongmen, I've had other bodybuilders, I've had just dude that's strong as shit. And I've worked out with, professional football players I've had the spectrum.
Yeah.
Training partners? Fuck.
Yeah.
Dog, I know you only got an hour 15, man. I'll be there 10 minutes late.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I just did the math in my head.
Yeah. You got an hour 5 now?
I was like, I got a finger for you, and it's not the pointer.
Exactly.
We'll hook that up real quick, dude. Like, you get stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
I remember for a while there, I thought the way to advance my training was through training partners because I was at some ridiculous amount of intensity. And at the time, I was like, okay, what's the next level? Next level is a spotter, or whatever. Sometimes, yeah. If you're going for like just completely unassisted 1 rep max, you're probably gonna f something up. But so I find this guy, nice guy, great guy, and I was over in town, and I remember talking to him once because I was doing shrugs or whatever, and he was like, dude, how can you do that much weight so well? It's so and I was like, I don't know, dude. And it was like, you want to train together sometimes? I was like, okay.
You're like, oh.
My interview process says yes, but my mind tells me it's probably a bad idea. Try to train with him a few times, and he gets distracted, and I was like, okay. But one time, he was 45 minutes late. 45 minutes late. I waited 30 minutes for whatever reason. I said, oh yeah, this will be all right. You know, he'll come in, we'll train this, that, and the other. 30 minutes in, I messaged him, hey man, I'm just getting started. Oh no, this, that, and the other. I'm in the sauna. What are you doing in the sauna?
Yeah.
I was like, all right, so this guy, and I'm just gonna get started.
Yeah.
And then he comes up, and it was one of those things. Training partners are there to push you, like physically, psychologically, you know, to drive you farther. So if you're having a shitty day, you have that guy, like famous duo Franco and Arnold.
Yeah.
Right. That's the ideal training partner situation, right?
Yes. Get you out of the funk, keep you moving.
Exactly.
Sometimes when you're doing whatever heavy squats, and you see somebody else do some heavy squats, even if they're one set behind you, you're like, okay, I'm in it.
Exactly.
That
locks you in because you're like, oh, I'm on, like, we got this.
Yeah.
But just the opposite of motivation, he was like, why do you train so hard? You should lighten up, or you should do this. You shouldn't train so hard. Take more rest time. You know, your body needs it. I'll tell you what my fucking body needs. You don't tell me what my body. And then the last thing that finally just nailed in the coffin for me was, why don't you just get like a normal desk job? And like, I was like, because I told him as sincerely as possible. And this was after some dumbbell bench, and I'm sitting here like, chest is on fire, my like veins are like in my head, and why don't you get a normal desk job, you know, and, you know, do this on the side? And I looked over at him and I said, because if I got a desk job, I promise to God, I would put myself down within 3 months. Yes. 1 season, I would be done, because I hate the bureaucracy. And like, I just told him that, and he was just,
a lot of people don't grasp that, man. You're just like,
it's because some people physically can't, or they just can't. They literally can't put themselves into those situations. Like, I can't sit at a desk. I can't even watch a movie all the way through. I don't go to the movies. If I have Netflix, and like I'll watch 20 minutes at a time, because I'll you know, flip on Netflix, watch 20 minutes of it, pause, go do whatever else that I have to do. And then, like, a couple of days later, I'll come in. I wonder what I was watching. Oh, Chef's Table. Food. That's all I watch. It's just food and documentary.
I've been there. I got through that a little bit. I sneak in some food.
Exactly.
You know,
but
food shows.
But it's really hard to find those training partners, because a lot of times, well, for me, a lot of the times was they weren't as educated. They're a different part in their different, I guess, progression in their training. Some guy, I'm going to start cutting this month. Okay, well, you have fun with that. I'm going to stay consistent. Or, I'm bulking up for whatever season. And I was like, you can bulk all you want. You know, how about just come train consistently? Yeah. And let's just go from there. This, like, whatever it was. And
it's tough. And I'll say this. If you can find a good training partner, they don't have to be exactly your deal. Yeah. Because, I mean, I got ready for, in the world of bodybuilding, you know, ready for world championships. Yeah. Training with a strongman dude. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, we're both using weights. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But there's ways. Mentality. Yeah, there's ways to do that. And there's a lot of times in those things is because, you know, I'm trying to go higher volume and do different things. Mm-hmm. So I'm going reduced rest periods and such. So where I'd get 2 sets to his 1. Yeah. Perfect. Exactly. It worked great, you know.
And that's exactly right. Yeah. And so, and I like training with different guys. I like training with powerlifters or strongmen, just because it's more, it like changes. It's more fun. I'm like, oh, okay, this is all wonderful today, and then I don't know. I'm not even looking for one anymore. I can't even say that. I've come to the conclusion that, like, nah, I'd rather train alone.
I would say this, and a little bit of speculation on this, but I think finding a workout partner is harder than finding a date. Quality. Oh yeah. Quality date. Yeah. Quality, you know, training partner. Not just, I mean, obviously anybody like, yeah, dude, I'll work out with you.
Exactly. Or it's like, oh yeah, I'll go.
Yeah, no.
No, I don't trust you.
I think I do, because I'm just sitting there, I'm like, so many people, and they get, this was my biggest thing. Okay, yeah. So I don't know if it's how I deal with the pain or lactic acid buildup, or because I'm stronger than the average bear, whatever the fuck it is. So many people would come with me and they'd work out like twice and they'd be like, dude, I can't keep up. Yeah. And they're
strong guys, consistent, big, whatever it is.
You know, been working out for years and years on their own, and or, you know, the people, whatever it is, team.
Yeah.
not newbies.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, fuck, I just can't keep up, dude. I can't recover from it. I can't this. And I'm like, what are these people doing?
Yeah.
And I really don't know the answer to that because it's a pretty good spectrum of people. So I'm thinking,
I know the answer.
probably doing a little recreational drugs on the side, probably,
Yeah.
drinking a little bit, not resting as much, doing a little partying. So they're not recovering at the same rate as I was with being directly on top of fucking everything, So I'm going to jump a little bit. Nutrition.
Okay.
This one, if you talk to 10 people, you're going to get 10 totally different ideas.
Absolutely.
On what is proper nutrition.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going to blanket statement this and say we are both professionals in the fitness industry. Mm-hmm. Okay. Speaking for myself, to say I am highly educated in the world of nutrition and applied nutrition and the sciences behind it and so on and so forth, especially with athletes.
Yeah.
Would be an understatement.
Yeah.
You are way advanced as compared to other 22-year-olds.
Yeah, okay. But like still completely novice.
Well, but I'm saying,
world. But
for 22-year-olds, right? So let's keep it in perspective. And I think it's safe to say this: take the USDA standards and toss them.
Thank you, God.
Take the food pyramid and put it in a blender.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
And drink that for your protein.
So I'm just kind of, a lot of people are like, oh, well, I avoid carbs, or I avoid these fats, or I avoid this fats, or I avoid this. So I'm gonna give my little soapbox real quick, okay?
Yeah.
And then it's all yours.
Okay.
So I just got to get this. Scientifically, okay, I know you can do things as a vegan and you can do things here. Mm-hmm. It is so difficult, and I know certain broccoli has X number of grams of protein, and there's different classifications of protein. Yep. There's different levels of bioavailability.
Yeah.
And if you say you're getting your protein from broccoli, you're not being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start there. So generally speaking, more people are not vegan than are vegan. So we're talking about just regular unrestricted diets. When I say any of this stuff, the body needs protein, amino acids, all the things associated with it.
Yeah.
The more natural, in quotations, that you can get, the better.
Yes, absolutely.
More free range and open field, and the less processed and all that kind of shit. I don't care who you are, it's better. If you can go buy cage-free X brand eggs at a grocery store. Yeah. Or you can go over to the farmer's market and get true free range eggs. Yeah. They've been measured. They've been tested. The free range eggs from Aunt Betty's front yard, those chickens are better and more nutritious and don't get recalled like we just had the whole egg thing going on as compared to commercial eggs. There's a difference. Yeah. There's a difference in meat from the white-tailed deer that you go hunt over here as compared to that very pretty reddened up slab of meat at the grocery store. Yeah. There is a difference. Now, the grocery store commercial.
Yeah, whatever.
You can get
some commissary, doesn't matter.
You can get some really quality meats that are, wild and wild caught. Yes. So understand what I'm saying. Commercial, big box stores, that type of a deal. And so people freak out about things. People freak out about fat, and people freak out about cholesterol. Okay, cholesterol is the building block for everything in your body. You need it. So when you avoid it, you're going to create problems, right?
Absolutely, yes. For sure.
Red meat is not the devil. 6 pounds of red meat in one sitting might be the devil. You know what I'm saying?
Please don't.
Right? I'm just saying, like,
a whole lot of fiber for that shit.
Right? You're like, people are like, oh, well, I can't eat fruits. Fruits have sugar. Okay, stop it. I agree. Avoid sugar. Yeah. Again, it's been heavily tested. It's irrefutable science. Sugar from fruits does not act the same as sugar from your table sugar or whatever the hell. It doesn't act the same. Yeah. It doesn't. Now, if you extract fructose from the fruit and you eat that, that acts the exact same way as table sugar.
Exactly.
Table sugar in quotations, right? So it's just, avoid refined carbohydrates.
Yes. Yeah, right? Absolutely.
Eat gourds, eat potatoes, eat sweet potatoes, eat your, unrefined.
Yes.
Just unrefined, dude. All the fruits, all the vegetables, it's all amazing. They're great. Do it. Fats, eat fat, damn it.
Please.
Like, why these people, everybody looking for fat-free shit. I'm like, give me some sugar-free shit. How about that? Because it's hard to find. It's really hard to find.
Yeah.
So you get into these things. So my point is, eat a well-rounded diet.
Yes.
Get at least, if you're trying to build or you're an athlete, at least 1.2 grams of protein to pound of body weight. Mm-hmm. You can fluctuate those a little bit, but that's kind of the minimum. 1 to 1 is the super minimum.
Yeah.
Just be smart about it. To be real, can you do all of this on eating 1 meal a day? Yes. Yes, you can. Do you really want to sit down and have a 6,000 calorie meal once a day?
Exactly.
Or 5,000? That's not very comfortable. That's where you split up over the meals. Well, how many meals? How many you want, dude?
Exactly.
There's some super high-end athlete bodybuilders, physique guys that are lean as shit and healthy and all this stuff, and they eat twice a day and they fast 14 to 16 hours a day.
And the other end is some eat 12 times a day.
And that's the other end. There are some guys that literally will set their alarm clock and wake up 3 times in a night to get more feedings, and they eat every 3 hours on the hour or 2 hours during the day and then 3 hours at night.
Exactly, yeah.
And they're extremely healthy and look great and just as lean. You got to figure out what works for you.
Yeah.
No,
absolutely.
Yeah. So that's kind of my start to the whole thing. I went on for a little while. Sorry.
Okay. This is a whole lot to process. Preserved versus fresh.
We got to be specific, though, because like fermented vegetables. So if you get kimchi and some pickles and sauerkraut and things like that are massively beneficial to your gut biome.
Yeah.
So preserves.
Yeah, we're talking antibiotics at that point. That's the best thing we can.
Yeah.
Okay, so from what I've seen, I don't want to say fresher, the more produce-based foods that you get, and just starting based off. So you don't go get the box cereal. Get the freshest, least processed oatmeal.
Right.
Yeah. Don't go out and get the dry or the refrigerated fruit or vegetables. Just make more trips to the grocery store.
Right.
Get fresh produce. Now, if you want to be on the very top end of everything, get the most, I don't want to say like naturally grown produce you can. Least amount of chemicals, least amount of processes, this, that, and the other.
And local farmers markets are the best for that.
Yes. I love the farmers market. The one over here in Sugarland at the refinery.
Yeah.
Great.
There's that. I mean, there's a bunch of little ones around too that, in and out. So just real quick on that. Naturally grown fruits and vegetables. Yeah. Especially like raw vegetables. Mm-hmm. Are actually a little more nutritious. Yes. Barring if they spray chemicals on them.
Yeah.
From the natural dirt than they are from organic. Because sometimes organic is going to, screw with flavor and actually screws with the nutrients of the soil. Yeah. Because you're required to do certain things to the soil. Oh. And I'm keeping it super simple.
Changing the game. Yeah, right. Okay. I see.
So now organic is good in comparison to highly chemically grown foods. Yeah. Right? Does that make sense? Yeah. And, and so,
naturally grown.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's definitely, we got a guy down here, one of the local, farmers markets that grows his vegetables, and they don't use chemical type pesticides, and it's not organic. Yeah. But if you take whatever, their carrot compared to, organic carrot. Yeah. They look different, they taste different, and the nutrients it's not a ton. It's just a little bit. But like people are going to argue, but organic's better. Not always. Yeah. Like not always.
Yeah, and so I guess to that. So if you can find a place that has the most natural, nutrient-rich soil, it's obviously going to produce the best produce.
Yes. Yeah.
Just the way it is, right?
Yeah.
The more commercialized it is, the faster it gets barren, and the less nutrients it has. Yeah. So if we're talking like, you plant corn in this field every single season
for 30 years.
Exactly. If it's still growing, which would be phenomenal to me, it might. It's not going to have a lot of nutritional value. Yeah. Because the corn is taking up so much nutrients from the soil already, unless you're imbuing it with whatever fertilizers, whatever natural fertilizers
And you start, and then that gets what's a natural for people.
Exactly,
get,
yeah, and it goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
But I mean, if that, it's hard to find good sources of natural produce, but I would say in the end, it's worth it.
Yeah,
absolutely. When it comes to meats, wild is probably the best that you got.
Yeah,
it tastes different. It is leaner. Some people don't like that lean taste. Personally, I love it.
I don't know that it's leaner.
So okay, if we're
it's
talking
more gamey,
if we're talking deer, boar, whatever it is, it has that gamey flavor. There are ways to get rid of it with pineapple juice or with we used to use milk, but it is ultimately better for you.
Yes,
because they've been able to scrounge around and eat whatever it is that they eat.
Yeah, and
they've been able to live whatever healthy lifestyle they did.
Well, and they're not pumped up with a bunch of refined carbs and shit.
And
like
exactly,
like they're
not eating little pellets. They're eating actual, nutrients from the earth.
Right.
And that's minus, talking about growth hormones and whatever. Because as soon as you jump into that, then yes, I'll.
That's a different deal. I'll
have a deer steak.
Yeah.
Every day of the week.
Yeah. Exactly.
Rather than having one of those goofy ass there. Yeah. But so for the whole nutrition bit is just be mindful of what you're eating. Yeah. And as it comes down to it, and you'll find that the more you research, the easier it is to kind of make the right choices. Because a lot of people don't know, the difference between a complete and incomplete protein. What it's traditionally called, or what do you call it, bioavailability?
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you talk about it, let's say eggs have the most bioavailability just because
of natural of unprocessed protein sources. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it goes down the line, and you get down to like cashews and stuff, and cashews don't have, or whatever nut legume doesn't have as high bioavailability as those meats or those eggs or whatever it was. Right. And so you do have to pay very close attention to that because, a cashew might have a gram of protein per half ounce or whatever it is.
And it's people have to just keep in mind is that look at percentages. You can look at it and just don't look necessarily at bioavailability numbers. Yeah. Is it 110 or is it 30 or is it? Yeah. Don't necessarily look at that. Just do a quick Google and say what percentage of protein am I absorbing or assimilated on averages from 1 gram of protein from a cashew. And it's going to give you a number. I don't know off the top of my head. I'm going to say it's going to be like 25%.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I eat 100 grams of protein from cashews,
exactly,
I'm only getting, in quotation, 25 grams.
Yeah.
To where if I take 100 grams from eggs or whey or a higher end protein, right? More bioavailable protein.
You got your half day value already.
Then for the 100 grams I'm eating, I'm getting like 98.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a big difference.
Yeah, exactly.
And people talk, volume of food and all this other kind of stuff. Is that not empty calories is the wrong way to do it, but unnecessary calories.
Yeah.
So somebody may not want that much fat with the cashews as compared to what they're getting with their protein. They may need a different ratio. And I'm not saying, I'm just using single source because it's easy for the story, right? So it's a lot of vegetarians and vegans, I'm going to say vegans primarily, go to become vegan because of they don't like the way the animals are treated. They don't like, it's more of a personal reason, maybe spiritual, maybe religious.
Which I 100% get.
Totally respect it.
Yeah.
I support it 100%. But if you're doing that, get some free range eggs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And people will know this that listen to Rogan a lot because he's got the chickens. And so, but this is just a reality that more people need to hear this than not. Free range eggs are eggs that never have the opportunity to become a chicken.
Yeah. Yes.
You're not killing anything. It's just a process. It's just what happens. They just lay the eggs. And if you feed them more flax and you feed them other things, guess what? Those eggs, that goes directly to those eggs in their feed, right? And chickens will devour everything.
Yeah.
But they produce these amazing eggs. By taking those eggs and eating them, you're not reducing the likelihood of them being a less chicken because there was no chance for it to be a chicken anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not harming anybody. They're just going to sit there and you can eat them or some random scavenger animal, bird, or is going to eat them, right?
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? So you go through all those deals. It's so nutritious and so important. It has so much, positive caloric and nutritional value.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they don't eat it, but that's a whole nother deal. So I get it, and assuming they're not going to do something like that, right?
Yeah.
They don't like how the eggs hit the ground or some bullshit. Cool. Aww. You have to educate yourself on what you touched on. Complete proteins. You have to get complete proteins. You need them. You need them all.
Or you're eating an unnecessary amount of incomplete proteins.
Right.
To try to achieve the same thing.
And most vegans will tell you the same thing. It's really challenging to find sources that aren't loaded in carbohydrates to get your protein. So it'll be 25 grams of carbohydrates to every 5 grams of protein. You're like, oh crap. As a vegan, you're like, I've got to eat 600 grams of carbohydrates to get close to my daily allowance of protein.
Yeah, exactly. And so
when they don't need 600 grams of carbohydrate, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get in the car and I'm going to hit this no carb, low carb, no fat, high fat, whatever diet thing real quick, because I get these comments from clients and people all the time, and I hate them because they're so annoying. Okay, body needs carbohydrates. Body needs fats. Body needs proteins. There's no way out of it. Right. Body needs the micronutrients that nobody pays attention to, like your zinc, like your potassium, like your sodium, like your iron, like everything else.
Yes.
Okay, guys. So here's the bit. The no-fat diets, the low-fat diets, the no-carb diets, the low-carb diets, the all-protein diets, whatever you want to call them, are not sustainable. Now, when I say that, you can do it for a year, 2 years, but in the long run, it is hurting your body more than it's helping. Yeah, you'll lose a little bit of weight. Yeah, you look kind of good in that bikini. Cool, good job. But you are significantly more healthy working on a holistic diet that incorporates solid, rounded percentages of your macronutrients and provides the micronutrients that you need, which means you can't get everything from your supplements. Which means you can't get everything from your protein supplement or your carbohydrate supplement or whatever it is. You can supplement micronutrients through multivitamins and whatever, but it's not always the best way to go.
Right.
Okay. So quick.
So now you do have to throw the disclaimer in this, because you can be carbohydrates are a tricky thing.
Yes.
Because some people will say a no-carb diet, meaning no refined carbohydrates or no grain. Okay. So you could still have plentiful carbohydrates.
Yeah.
And then you also have to throw the disclaimer in there, because people blow my ass up, is that you can absolutely train the body to use fat as fuel over carbohydrates as fuel.
Yeah.
And in some people, and some being a range of 1 to 99%.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to get into the debates of it's this percentage or that percentage.
Yeah.
But a significant number of people will heavily benefit on one of those over the other.
Yes.
Now, there's people that I've worked with that we've removed grain and we've done everything on paper the way we should, and their health or their performance or whatever diminishes.
Yeah.
And I've had people do the flip, also on the flip. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
did the same thing and it benefited.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, typically when you start to remove grains and refined carbohydrates, universally there's some level of benefit in reduction of inflammation.
Yes.
Be it tissue or water retention. Usually, not always.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So, I mean, I don't want nothing we're saying is universal, because people's physiology are different, and we're learning through various forms of genetics and just different studies that your regional heritage, right, your bloodline heritage of where you're from, we believe will dictate that's what primarily your diet should be like. How it was 10,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, 6,000 years ago. If you're a Christian, it doesn't go beyond that. Sorry, I had to plug that. I just had the big debate with this guy, and I was just like, no, it doesn't mean Christianity is bullshit. It just means it's older than 6,000 years old. Right, yeah. But you know what I'm saying? So it's like, if whatever region you are, if you're from the Mediterranean and northern Mediterranean, and both your parents are from there, but
fish and produce and whatever.
Right. There's going to be a certain diet that's going to be good with you. If you're from Ireland and you eat like Mediterranean, it may not be the best thing for you. the fish or the seafood part may be okay, but then you're eating and consuming a lot of things that on a epigenetic level you're not used to.
This is
different.
The first time I've heard this, but it makes sense.
Well, it's been around a little while.
Okay. Well,
and I'm keeping it super simple, so I know
I'm behind. Yeah.
Like, some of the people that are on the science side of it that watch, they're gonna chew my ass for saying it this way.
Yeah.
Well, but you didn't say no. I'm not. This is not the science version or science show. This is. I'm
exactly
going over the top of it and giving people information to go look for.
This is the tip of a very, very ugly iceberg that we're just not going to get into. Okay, then yes. So there are certain things that okay. So for example, there are a few people that I know had concussions or had sport-related injuries that pulled out the breads and the refined carbohydrates because it was causing too much inflammation.
Yeah.
Right? Good. Perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly what we need. There are people that can't consume a lot of carbohydrates, or people who can't consume a lot of carbohydrates through those simple means because they're gluten-free or gluten intolerant or whatever it is. There are people who have certain conditions or illnesses that have to go on a very, very low-carb diet because of that illness or because, if you're getting out of a surgery or whatever the case is. So there are exceptions to the rules, but I would say the average healthy person, don't find the easy way out.
No.
Just do it the right way. And
just do it the right way. I want to hit on gluten.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like this.
Because there's gluten intolerance and gluten sensitivity.
Yeah.
Okay, so not getting scientific.
Okay.
There's a range of sensitivity with gluten.
Mm-hmm.
Most people in the world of science of nutrition are not saying that there isn't a problem with gluten necessarily, as far as increased sensitivity and things like this. They think it's more on the rise because of all the other bullshit that humans are doing. Drinking more, sleeping less, living in major cities, toxifying themselves more and more through all of these other random means.
Yeah.
More medications, more this, more, all these other mores, which is the cause of being more sensitive to lactose, more sensitive to gluten, more sensitive to certain things. The sensitivity is increased there. Because with all those other things, lack of sleep, more toxins, more all that stuff, what happens? Your gut biome gets fucked up.
Yeah.
And now we're learning so much science with the gut biome is if that gets to certain levels, you can actually act and test as being psychotic.
Yeah.
And a psychopath and all that. I mean, that's an extreme. Don't get me wrong, it's an extreme. But just because your gut biome's off, I'm like, what kind of shit is that? You go tell 99 people that right now, and they're gonna be like,
"Dude, what are you talking about?"
Dude, and the aliens brought you over from your house."
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
That's like gonna be for, they're gonna give you that kind of crap. But no, I mean it's very sound science. It's there. We have to learn more, but it's all provable.
Yeah.
So when people say, "Oh, well, I eliminated gluten, and now I feel so much better," well, did you eliminate all the other shit that possibly made you sensitive to that gluten?
Yeah.
And usually the answer is no. I'm off gluten, but I still, drink like a fish.
Mm-hmm.
All right, dude. Maybe there's different ways to go about that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to kill your.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to kill your path, but I'm just kind of there's so many things that are. I mean,
I like
really,
that. Okay.
Yeah, to hit every topic, it would be 6 hours a day for 4 weeks,
yeah.
4 weeks straight, and
Unbearable.
we still wouldn't be done. Right?
Yeah.
But what you're saying is true, though.
Yeah.
Generally healthy people are going to need some level of carbohydrate because that's part of the functions of the body.
Yeah.
That doesn't need to be your primary source of energy necessarily.
No.
But then you're also going to need some level of fat. And again, that doesn't need to be your primary source of energy, but it can. It depends.
Yeah.
You are going to need quality proteins. And in those carbohydrates, you are going to need a mix of vegetables and fruits and things. And it's just that there's no way around it.
Yeah.
Can you live without some of those things? You can live. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's not suicide. You're not going to die, but the quality of your life is going to be much less.
Yeah.
You'll get sick more. You won't feel as good. Your energy will suffer. It'll affect your sleep. It'll affect your gut biome's off, which we know affects people's psychology.
Yeah.
Which could trigger in a bunch of different ways. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of, a little bit of the back end of that. It's always long-winded. Damn it. I need to get better at that.
So okay, so let's jump into supplementation then.
Yeah.
So so let's just go into macro supplementation. So let's say like protein supplements.
Yeah, protein, carbs, and such. Yeah.
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 As effective as getting your proteins from natural means? Question mark.
As with everything, it depends.
Okay.
So with supplementation, I use protein because I'm too lazy to go to the microwave or the oven or the stove. I'm being absolutely honest. And I do it, the window after a workout for nutrients is bullshit.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody tell you that. Good. But I have a shake that I take that I drink after a workout. It's almost every day. It's the same damn thing because I like it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like I enjoy it. It tastes good. It's just cream. It's
like your reward
awesome.
for
right. Yeah, it
training
really,
well.
Seriously, it just kind of is. I'm like, I just really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And like, could I go eat something? I mean, like if we're at Lifetime, I could walk down and get the meal that I need.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like it takes any longer. 2 minutes maybe.
But then you have to pay for that goofiness.
Well, but I'm ultimately the food is available. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm 10 minutes away, so get home and get food, whatever. I just enjoy it. So, sorry, quick disclaimer is that the window isn't important, but it's one of the times I use protein.
Okay.
Another one is a lot of times when I wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's some energy powder as far as like with some caffeine and aminos or like amino energies or, amino X's or any of those types of deals that are out there. Or it's some coffee, just like some instant coffee because I like it sometimes cool instead of hot because it's 100 degrees. And I'll dump a scoop of protein in with it. Bzzz, go.
Really?
Good, yeah. And the main reason is just makes it taste a little better.
Yeah, I was about to say.
It creams it up without having to use a shitload of cream.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I enjoy that. And some of the proteins, if you have time, making them with some of the herbal teas and stuff, are actually really good. But you got to make the fucking tea. You got to cool it off. And then the process is forever. So anyway. But so those are the kind of times I use it. Is it better than a steak, a 10% fat steak? Pick one, any of them, sirloin or whatever, right? It's different. You get a different set of nutritional values from each.
Yeah.
The protein is in and out of you real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, it passes quick. It assimilates great. You get to, you can get a glucose spike from having, large amounts of dairy-based proteins. Some people don't want that.
Yeah.
So that could be a negative deal, right? But you don't get a lot of the other things that are in, just the spectrum of micronutrients that are in that steak as compared to what are in that protein.
Yeah.
The steak kills it every time.
Yeah.
It's not as bioavailable. It's going to sit with you. It may be heavy. Maybe it's... So, I'll say supplementation should be used as a supplement to supplement what you can't do through whole means.
Yes.
That's why they're called supplements.
Yeah, exactly.
Not primary source of nutrients. Not primary,
good.
It's not a replacement.
Yes.
Because there's meal replacements out there, but most of those, they don't use that terminology anymore, as you've learned, because they can't really replace a meal.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's more of a temporary substitute until you can get somewhere into this, or having a high-calorie protein shake at noon is better most of the time than going from 8 in the morning until 8 at night with nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you need something and that's your only option, great. Yeah. You're supplementing a meal that you can't get a hold of or can't get to. Easy. Right?
Yeah. So, so good. So that's where I'm at with it. So, like, for me, it's after my workout and then sometime on one of my commutes off to work.
Yeah.
I'll have a protein drink.
Yeah.
Just because it's exactly that. It's a way for me just to get protein. But on average, I'm usually consuming just way more food. And so,
which is how it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, so then so micronutrients then. Mm-hmm. Is it possible to get everything that you need through just process or your vitamins, your multivitamins, your whatever it is?
So artificial means.
Yeah.
It's debatable, as all this crap is debatable. You're going to find scientists that will say both on both sides.
Yeah.
From what I have seen is no, you're not going to get it all that way. Because things, certain micronutrients need certain other micronutrients a lot of times to help absorb, and
Yes.
sometimes this one blocks that one, and then when they're all jumped in together into a couple of pills,
Exactly. They may
something's
or may not
going to work
properly.
right somewhere.
Okay.
More often than not. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does it mean you're going to be horribly deficient in them and all this? No, but if that's your only source of, like, literally, if all you did was take vitamins and protein shakes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
spoons of
exactly.
peanut butter for your fat, well, you're going to have problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
That's the bit. Okay, that's kind of the bit that I want to get at. You can't replace everything, by just I don't get these certain micronutrients through my foods, or through my protein drinks, so let me just replace it with multivitamins. Yeah, not possible.
No.
Okay, perfect. So we're on the same page then. I just had to make sure, because I have people that talk to me about that kind of stuff. Well, why don't we just, it would be far more.
Well, you could do things like this. If people are looking for time, they're like, fuck, I'm not cooking eggs and veggies in the morning. I'm not going to do a spinach egg omelet. I don't have the fucking time.
Yeah,
for it.
exactly.
Okay, get them some unflavored or vanilla protein shake, right? They can there's a bunch of a variety of greens. Vibrant Health is one that I use. You have to keep it stored in the freezer and all that kind of stuff, and it's a bunch of greens, and it's got all the different fibers and nutrients, and I mean, it's insane.
Yeah.
Right? Dump a serving of that in there with it. Do that. Have a little bit of either your fish oil, your flax oil, have some nuts, have something with, so you're getting your fats. You're going to be okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that the best thing in the world? No. But going back to what I said earlier, if you're not going to do the other.
Exactly.
So if you're saying, I'm going to have a cup of coffee and nothing, or I'm going to have a cup of coffee and what I just explained with that protein and green shake.
Yeah.
Okay. Have the protein and green shake.
Yeah,
dumbass.
exactly.
Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
And if somebody did that their entire life, every single day, and all they had was one big solid meal with a salad and all this other kind of crap once a day, they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Now, if they're trying to be an extreme professional athlete or high level, then they're going to change them then.
Yeah.
But most people aren't. So,
yeah, exactly.
So they're kind of like, oh, well, I'm just going to do that. Lead them, like, don't say no. Like, hey, maybe this would accomplish the same thing.
Yeah. Come to some form of compromise rather than you're wrong.
Because it's like the greens that I have, it's all blended in. It's all there's no it's not, they're not chemically engineered, or they're not artificially put it, like, literally
okay, yeah.
They'll take the things and they're dehydrated and then powdered and shoved together, and it's a big deal that you scoop out. Yeah, does that make sense? I'm simplifying.
So it's just normal greens. They're just there, just shredded up.
Yeah, I'll show you on the way out.
Okay.
Remind me.
Yeah. I'll let you know what I think about it next time.
Well, I mean, and honestly, if you take them just with water, I mean, it tells you only use 2 or 3 ounces of water, right?
Yeah.
But if you just use it with water, I mean, it tastes like liquid mustard greens.
That sounds pretty good. Actually.
No, it's not like the good kind of with some salt and seasoning and butter.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Like some straight ass mouthful of mustard greens.
I love greens, so I don't know.
Like, I'm good, man. Like, you can give me some
like
vegetables.
earth,
It's very earthy. It's very earthy, but love it.
Yeah,
great.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, it's just gonna make you feel better in the end. So it doesn't really matter.
And that's what I'm saying. Is like, if you get people to do that stuff, they're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because you have to. There's just the general population, and then there's people with just a different set of goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then let's fall into eating for nutrition rather than eating for flavor. Why do one or the other? A lot of people eat just for flavor.
Yeah.
Right? And don't get the proper nutrients. And then on the other scale, you see especially a lot of competitive style guys eat just for the nutrition, and psychologically diminishes their morale.
Yeah. This is it. I mean, and I'll say this: people who only eat for taste, always out to eat, always high flavor, always all this, they got problems, dude.
Yeah,
it's just not like they're just being babies. They're being babies, and I'm not saying stuff needs to taste bad.
Yeah,
but when I don't necessarily know how to properly put that in words. But if you need your crap to be over the top all the time, stop it. Just stop it. Like, it's cool. Like, stop. On the flip, a lot of athletes, and you got to remember, I competed for years and years and strict diets. I very rarely had anything that didn't taste good.
okay.
Because you can make shit with seasonings are fine. Salt is fine. People who restrict salt are idiots. We can get into that conversation. There's all different kinds of different, vegetables and peppers and seasonings and herbs and all the, and it there's no reason to eat stuff that tastes like crap.
Yeah.
Occasionally you're in a bind. Okay. So,
it can crunch for time, whatever it is.
Generally speaking, come on, man. Let's be real.
Yeah.
And everywhere you go has crap basically already made anyway. But it's got a lot of salt in it. Don't get me. You know what I'm saying? Don't start, you eat it. Stop
exactly, yeah.
But I'll retain water. Okay, good. Thank you. Just can you open your mouth and shove the food in and close it?
Exactly.
And then I don't have to hear him anymore. You see, the ear abuse stops at that point. It's hammering. But it's, that's kind of the reality of it.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times you'll hear competitors say, if you're not suffering, you can't win.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
it sucked from the point that you can't go out and have some pizza or nachos or some of the. I mean, whatever. From that point, you're kind of like, fuck, I want to overeat.
I want some donuts.
Right.
I want some donuts now.
There's times that you want that stuff, and so that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So that's suffering in quotation marks, but you don't need to eat some stuff that you gag as it's going down.
Yeah.
That's just at that point, they're being silly. That's like saying the only hardcore gyms are the one with no AC and rust and dirt everywhere and all that. I'm like,
no machines, only dumbbells and barbells.
I'm like, you're an idiot too, man. You're just going to go get some staph. So go get your staph infection.
Exactly.
And I'll see you at the clean gym.
Get a double dose of 10.
Because a super clean gym is dirty as shit. So that whole, it's only hardcore if this. All right, cool. Go to your place. I don't need you where I am anyway. Same thing with the guys that are like, you can't win if you don't suffer. It's just you just sear it on both sides and eat it. All right, dude.
And you'll find those guys. I've found those guys and enjoy them immensely for just the comic value of just.
I can't with those people, man.
And to be fair, when I first started meal prepping, it was one of the I didn't realize, can I use this? Can I use that? Can I use seasoning? And I hated it. It's so bland.
Yeah.
So. The best I had was my sweet potatoes, love, and then my steak or my chicken or whatever, loved it, right?
Oh yeah.
Potatoes or rice or brown rice without any sort of flavor actually drove me crazy.
Yeah, it's not good.
So,
but dude, you could take a sweet potato with you pick it, any just seared meat.
Yeah.
Don't a little sweet potato with a little piece of that meat. It's good.
And you're good. You're done. You're fine.
Good.
You've got everything you need.
And that didn't take a lot of seasoning. It's just good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, so what I found was, and this was just through trial and error, I was able to season it as much as I wanted, not have any problem. Use tomato sauce, even better for me, and it built morale. It helped me keep up, that consistent eating. And then for the people who constantly, because this is almost everybody that I know around my age that likes to go out and eat all the time. Yeah. All the time. And when we were kids, we didn't get to eat out a lot, but every once in a while we get to eat out twice a week. I couldn't ever imagine eating out for 2 of my 3 meals a day. Holy cow, these guys.
But people don't teach. Parents, so it's their parents' fault. Yeah. For not teaching them how to cook, not teaching them how to prepare things, not teaching them how to properly plan their day. Right? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's just most of them, I'm not blaming the younger people, because how can you blame somebody that doesn't know how to cook that they don't cook?
Yeah. And that's the whole bit of it. And then it's the fun part of my childhood was we had a lot of foods that we had to eat. Beets, artichokes, squash, whatever it was, that's what was there. Yeah, that's what you ate. Right? There was no, let's run off to McDonald's and get this or that, or, let's go get them some donuts for whatever. Yeah. No, you're eating this and this alone. And so I guess to the ones and to the flavor finders, the foodies, whatever you want to call them, be a foodie that has good taste for actual food rather than good taste for seasoning. Yeah. Because, a beet is delicious.
Yeah. If done right.
Exactly.
It can
Yes,
be hell too, but yeah.
earthy and disgusting in first, but once you get to taste it and once you get to like actually appreciate it, it is amazing.
Yeah.
Like I'll have that. I have weird cravings. So like when I get into like pre-comp training, trying to see where the physique is at, and then I'll build back up from there. I get these weird cravings for different foods, and it's almost always Brussels sprouts or artichokes. Especially, I don't know why, I love Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
And it was just one of as a kid, I hated it. Don't get me wrong.
But they've got to be done right.
Yeah.
Because you can, like I said, all those vegetables, you can make them hell, man.
Yeah.
So it's like,
they can taste like garbage. Don't get me wrong.
How do you prep them and how do you pair them?
Yeah.
It's everything.
It's like, but so like plain.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was the weird, quirky thing for me. It was like, this is disgusting. And then I grew up and I was like, I loved broccoli as a kid. And then like mid-teens, I was like, no, this is too healthy.
Yeah.
And then as I grew up, I was like, yeah, I know why I eat this. This is good.
I'm so burnt on broccoli, dude.
Yeah, I could imagine so.
And that's just because like so much time, especially during service years and stuff like that, trying to maintain something. The only thing you could ever get at any restaurant when you're out would be steamed broccoli.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, fuck, I got more steamed broccoli, and sometimes steamed carrots that sneak in there. And you're like, yes,
yeah, exactly.
Something other than and because back, I absolutely didn't have the time to prep out 50 meals during.
Yeah.
Didn't exist, but that was the deal, man. And it was just broccoli. I'm like, oh, I'm so over broccoli, dude.
Yeah, well now asparagus is the big one. All the guys that I talk, my chicken and asparagus and rice and whatever. I'm like, okay, have fun. Love asparagus, but
there was about a 5-year period that it was grilled tilapia and asparagus, and people were like doing their entire prep on that shit. No salt, no.
Ugh.
And then they come in, and then everything
not even that great of a fish.
It's horrible. Then everything on them smells like fish, and they go,
yeah.
Hey man, what's up? You're with the.
If I don't suffer, and everybody around me doesn't suffer.
And then, like, dude, it's just their breath goes to hell because it's fish and asparagus, and you're just like,
please
dude,
get away from
come
me.
on, man. Yeah, they just reek, and it gets bad, dude. Yeah.
All right.
Shit.
I don't know if we're gonna jump onto that topic today. Overtraining. Think we got time?
It depends how you want to attack it.
Okay.
Cost of this is I'm guilty of overtraining.
Yeah.
Everybody's guilty of overtraining for different reasons.
Yeah.
And I've shared this, so I am guilty of overtraining because I don't train to have a good physique.
Mm-hmm.
I train to settle all my demons.
Yeah.
It's just a pretty way to put that, right?
Damn it.
So
we're on the same page. Yeah.
Right. So because of that, I overtrain, dude. And I try to compensate other ways and whatever, you're good. Some people overtrain because they just don't know any better.
Yeah.
And then some people overtrain because they are measuring or tracking things inappropriately. Yeah. So I'll say this.
Yes.
Currently today, the couple of the best ways to identify overtraining, and I'll let people Google it so we don't get into the mass deal, is HRV, so heart rate variable training. You'll hear that a lot. And there's various watches and apps and things that you can get, kind of like your pulse heart rate monitors and all that kind of stuff that can help measure that. So you may feel great, but you'll identify that your body is stressed to the point that you probably shouldn't train that day. Yeah. Okay, that's one indicator. That's whole body. Yeah. Okay, so now that doesn't go along with necessarily with bodybuilding, to where you're training legs today, but your HRV is at a bad state, but you're training arms the next day. Really, you can deal with that. Yeah. Just, not that that's the way, but you follow me? Mm-hmm. But that's one way to do it. The other way is, as a beginner, is what I said earlier. Train something, wait a day. If it's chest, train your chest, along with other things. I'm just using chest. Upper body, all upper body on Monday. Don't worry, Tuesday, when you wake up Wednesday, do a couple push-ups, sit-ups, see what's sore. If it's not sore anymore, then it's time to go again. If it's sore, wait another day. So you can do it that way, to where you're training your body when it's as close to when it just becomes fresh again. Yeah, okay. Recovered, fresh. Things of that nature. That's one way to do it. Another way is you could, if everything else is consistent as possible, then you can go by your other measurable metrics of last week. This is more strength training, powerlifting, such. Last week, I did 10 reps with 315 pounds on bench. This week, I should be able to do 8 reps at 365 whatever. I'm just
Yeah,
giving
yeah,
numbers. And if I don't, excluding some other thing like I positioned weird or there's a slip or something like that.
Yeah.
If everything is consistent and I don't get 8 reps, I get 6, maybe I need to either adjust the rate of progression or I need to take 1 extra day.
Yeah.
Between lifting,
Yeah,
doing that lift. That's another very accurate way to do it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And some people will tell you, oh, okay, well, if you don't sleep well, that could be a sign of overtraining. Well, so could 50 bazillion other things. Like that's not always a consistent measurable. But so your heart rate variable, how your body feels. Mm-hmm. Like if today is chest day and you go and push a door closed and you're like, oh, my chest is sore.
Yeah.
Don't do chest that day.
That. Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Probably not the best day,
Yeah.
And then the other one is other measurables.
Okay.
And you can't go like things like body fat and trying to measure your hydration levels with common means.
Yeah.
And doing all this other kind of shit. It's not accurate.
Yeah.
Circumference. Oh, okay. Well, some people will say circumference, like your arm, whatever you trained arms.
Yeah.
You're going to be inflamed for a couple of days, and when that goes down, you're good. Okay, but you're not counting for everything else. Mm-hmm. Time of day, activity before, after measurement, hydration levels, temperatures outside.
Yeah, lots of variables that you can't measure,
so
you can't keep consistent.
And body weight, people try to use body weight, and then the scales that give you a body fat measurement.
Yeah,
they're relatively consistent. They're just not necessarily accurate.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. And those just don't necessarily hit it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So overtraining does exist. Let's get that out of the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know we had to go there first.
So yeah. Oh yeah. There's tons of people out there that claim, I just suffer through it.
Some training styles, that's true.
Yeah.
Right. David Goggin. If you look at his stuff, prior service, he's got a whole list of things. He does some really crazy shit, and a lot, and huge volume. And pushes himself to the point of sometimes crapping himself, and throwing up, and literally passing out. Not like, I'm tired. Like literally, like
blacked out on
wake
the floor.
The dude up.
Yeah.
And in all those things, that works for him.
Yeah.
If he doesn't do it to that level, things don't work right.
Yeah. Okay.
It clicks and doesn't go. Now, if he did that in the world of bodybuilding or powerlifting, he's got like a 3-week life.
Yeah, exactly.
He's toast in 3 weeks. So
exactly.
Yes, overtraining exists. That balls to the walls thing works, but it's got to be the right goal set.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. So I have a fun little story. And this was about when I first started using advanced splits. So like 6 days on, 1 day off, doing opposing muscles, chest, back, shoulders, arms, legs. And this was when I was starting to get into, for me, what was heavier weight. What ended up happening was I was doing 2-a-days. I sustained that for maybe 3 months. And I had a trip coming up. I was going on a climbing thing for 2 weeks. But I think about a month prior, I started to lose my hearing.
Oh, damn.
And it was because every day it was come in, just train, leave, come back in, train, leave, and then sleep. And then it was and I did that for 3-4 months. And and I didn't realize it. So because it was one of those things that slowly just got worse and worse. And I was like, oh, well. And eventually I was like, what'd you say? Excuse me? And then, it got bad. I was out there. And then the next thing to go was my taste. So I think 2 weeks before I went on this trip, I couldn't taste anything. I would put food in my mouth and I just feel like whatever flavor it was, didn't matter, salty, didn't matter.
What they attribute that to? Or did you get it checked out?
Nah, I don't like doctors.
No. Well, I'm not against you, but okay.
So I attributed that to the idea that my body was not prepared to work at that intensity, at that consistent, that like super advanced style that I was trying to do. So I called it overtraining. As simple as it is.
Possible. I'm not gonna tell you by that, but we don't know.
Or blood pressure or something like that.
Which could be an offset to your a result of your overtraining.
Yeah.
You know, fluctuation in your blood pressure, stress level, cortisol levels.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but
yeah.
I didn't realize, I didn't know the specifics, but I knew, okay, this is wrong. And I said, okay, let me just keep going. And then when I go on this trip, I'll figure it all out. Went on the trip, and it was still intense. You know, this was 100-pound bag up a mountain, right? But it was, I think, a week in, I got my hearing back. Or I'm sorry, no, yeah.
So when
about a week
you
in.
removed the weights for a week, and then
exactly,
now you're
I removed all that like ridiculousness, and I got my hearing back, and then a few days after that, I started to taste again, which sucked because all I had was dried meat and dried fruit and Cliff Bars. So
Cliff Bars.
But okay, so I come back and I just go back to the drawing board, readjust, and then now where I'm at now with like the intensity that I like to keep, I have to do 3 days on, 1 day off. I can't do 6-day training anymore, just because my body doesn't accept that kind of work. Yeah. Right. And so it does. So what I've found is it does vary from person to person. I know guys who can train legs 4 days a week and be phenomenal.
Yeah, but how sustainable is that?
I mean, if he can do it for 3 weeks, take a deload, and then jump back on. The guy that I'm thinking, he's crazy. He's big.
I'm just curious as he gets a little older, or as
it's not going.
Does that make sense? Like when is his body going to just basically shoot him the finger, and he's going to be in trouble?
There is going to be a time where it's like, nah, I don't want to do this anymore, and then he's just going to have to learn the hard way, or be smart and try to see it beforehand. But so there's that.
Yeah, I think the former on that one. This guy's toast.
But as of now, it's not overtraining for him, and I mean, because I can only hit legs barely twice a week.
Yeah, that's me. It's like that fifth day. Fifth day, it just depends.
Yeah.
The 6th day, I'm usually okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so, so like for me, it's like 4 days because I can't like hit as hard as I'd like to, just because of I don't know, whatever it is, my joints or whatever.
Well, I'll say that for me, I could probably train legs every 4th day. Yeah. But the deal with me is like when I do back a couple of days after legs. Yeah. I'm doing I'm doing dads, or I'm doing heavy rows, and when I do heavy rows, I'm all the way over hitting the touching the ground every time. I'm not
exactly.
I'll do the ones to the knee or just past the knee. I'll do that, but I'm saying all of that stuff in there, so I'm stressing my legs. I'm putting so much
stressing your legs, your back.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you need for squats. And
right. So there's other reasons than just leg recovery, but
so that's the other good point. And so what I found, and I recently moved on to push pull legs, or I'm sorry, legs push pull, because I love training legs first, opposed to opposing muscles. And the reason for that was my joints don't recover as quickly as the muscles do. So the muscles were firing off, and let's go, we're ready. Joints were like, no, dude, what are you doing? Stop! Don't touch that. Nope, put that down. Don't stop, please. And so because like chest back, both sides of the shoulders the next day, not reasonable. Working your elbows, okay, well now you're just asking for trouble, right? Yeah. And it goes on and on and on like that. So I guess the takeaway for that does exist. Please look for the warning signs. Please adjust accordingly.
Yeah. Because and, joint stiffness is a sign that can also lead to dehydration. There's a lot of signs out there, but I mean, it's as far as one of the more advanced ones now would be the HRV. Yeah, yeah. And again, that's more like that'd be very beneficial to CrossFit people, even powerlifters and strongmen, because they're doing full body things, endurance athletes,
full lifts and all that.
Yeah, so it's like full body or endurance. Yeah, it's great. That's awesome for bodybuilders. It is a tool, but it's not going to be as beneficial to them as
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay.
Because in bodybuilding, your whole body is basically always stressed.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're like, this little spot isn't, so now kill it today.
Exactly.
Tomorrow, that little spot isn't, so kill that one. And that's just the nature of what bodybuilding,
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a
like, you must grow.
Yeah. Dude, killing
my
calves. Well, that's what you get for being tall.
Yeah, exactly.
See, luckily I don't have to mess with that one too much.
Yeah, I'm still. Yeah.
I can't reach the top shelf, but I don't have to worry about calves. So, dude, we went over a little bit, but I think that was good.
Sweet.
Yeah, it was fun.
Hell yeah, no.
Yeah.
I've got nothing else to talk about.
Well, that's what I tell you.
About that, and I was like, We'll do another one on that.
Yeah, it's a whole. We'll invite some people in and get some killers on that one.
Ooh, there's a good idea.
But with the world of fitness and lifting and nutrition, I mean, we didn't even get into anything, man. We just scratched the surface on all that.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, before I was telling you, I was like, I saw you starting to write something, and I'm like, dude, don't even.
There's no way we're doing all this.
I was like, maybe all of the, but that's kind of the nature of it, man.
Yeah. But I think that's the fun of it, is because it's like such an obvious topic, and then it's so controversial, and so we get to just play around, see what happens, and then take the flag for it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Let's go.
Jeez. All right, everybody. Thank you. And we'll be on later, next, whatever it is. You know the schedule. Peace.